Okay, students, we'll start. Okay, counter first topic. So, any idea what is counter? Counter meaning that the value will be incrementing every time. We call it as a counter. Basically, we implement in likes, dislikes, heart button, like those concepts. We implement this counter. Okay, so we have a simple predefined usage of this counter. If you implement any button with this data counter, what happens? You can implement a button data counter inside that. Okay, meaning that simply you can just define it is a data counter, and then we are just keeping a simple script. Okay, so in that script what happens, we are just adding the value every time we are just clicking on that button, it will be incremented by what. So if not equal to undefined, what is this meaning undefined? You are defining a value or not, but actually now we are defined of some value 1. So basically this event looks inside this, and here we are creating a very important point, event listener. What is the use of this event listener? Okay, we are clicking on the same button, one single event, but it is going to perform the function with the different values. You can understand my point. First time when you are clicking on that point, value will become 1. Second time when you are clicking on that, the value will become 2. 2 to 3. Differentiated values. So when you wanted to work with multiple values, that's why we are implementing this event listener. What is the use of the listener? The changing values will be stored inside that listener. Okay, today you click 10 times. Tomorrow you are clicking 20 times. But how it is automatically available 10 and 20 itself? Because of that listener. That listener inside that button will be remembering how many number of times you have clicked on that button. So 10 times yes clicked. Tomorrow you will be clicking 20 times like that. That is why we are implementing this listener. So the basic implementation is add event listener, and what is your event? Click. When you are clicking on that button, the event listener is being implemented. So can you understand why do we implement the listener? Listener meaning that it should remember some value, differentiated value. Every time when you click, the values will get differentiated. So very simple logic. When you are seeing this example, so we can debug this code. So now we have actually counter 1. So when you are clicking on this button, every time the values will be getting incremented. And here I have given with 2. So that's why it is incrementing every time from the 2. It is our wish that you can give 1000 or 2000, 3000, anything. But logically what? Whenever I am clicking on this, it will be now available there. Got my point? This is very, very important point of learning. It is listeners. And one more thing, this listener also is available for session only. If you reload this page, do you understand my point? Session. One session, what will be the likes? Okay. But if you wanted to store the value, we have to go to the database, store that backend. And how many number of likes is there? And from the database, it will be pulling for tomorrow, and then it will be showing. Okay. So this is adding the value, but not for the memory. It is dynamically, it is giving for only one session. Okay. That means if you are like reloading the page, it will be refreshed, and from the system what is the value it is again available, that only will be loading. One session, what is the value, that only it will be loading. So this is a simple example of counter. Okay, So we will see this next one more example, toggler also, and that is also very simple point of learning. Already I have told you toggle meaning that show and hide. You click one button, it will be visible. You click on the same button, it will be hidden. Toggle meaning that showing and hiding basically. So likewise we have the data counter, we have data toggle. It is also the predefined syntax, which means in the button we are just keeping the data toggle ID, which means it is going to implement the toggler. Okay, so when you're just clicking on this form ID, it will be hidden first. Okay, and then when you're clicking on that, it will become visible now. So very simple. We have a form. We kept that form as hidden format. Okay. So you have a form, but that will not be visible every time. In the HTML, it will be hidden point only. So in a function, what we are just keeping, we are just giving that if your toggle ID is taken. So if it is available, then hide this element. Hopefully you remember this. We have done this for blinking point also. Do you remember blinker heading? You click on that, simply you add up anything inside the blinking. So blinking headers, you have just given this. So here what happens? Same thing here also, event listener. When you click on that button, it is hidden or not. So we are adding up that add event listener, meaning that you are clicking on that button. First time it will be hidden. Second time it will be visible. So if it is visible, go back to the hidden format. So this is only two things: show, hide. Okay, let me show you this. This is again very important point of implementing in your website. Kindly implement these things inside your website. Very, very important point of learning. Okay, so we are just seeing this output. We can see now. So we have a show the subscription form button. So if you click on this, your email, that form button is visible. If you again click on it, it will not be visible. So toggler, you can create that form, any big form, registration form. Okay, so and implement the toggle in the same page itself. You don't have to go for the new page for the registration form in your application. You are able to understand my point. Just implement the toggler and create the registration form in your website. You create that form in the toggler. So if you wanted to create the subscription, it is just showing only one, as because we have implemented only this one point. Okay, if you are in need of the multiple things inside that form, we can implement it with multiple points also. So here it has only that one email ID. Okay, if you are having the multiple things, everything will be hidden, and when you click on that button, visible. Toggle meaning show, hide, predefined here. Data toggle ID, which is predefined. Again, data counter is predefined. Only two things you have to remember: counter, toggler are predefined JavaScript functionalities, which is implemented through event listener. Listeners, they will be asking you in the interview question. If you are seeing this example, counter or toggle, very important interview question. Where do we implement listener? Why do we implement listener? If you are explaining these things, it will be enough to get the answers for that. Add event listener. Why we need? It has to store some value. That is why. Reloading, it will not be working when you are, it's for session, one session. Okay.